Hello, welcome to the Bowlers Union Ashes wrap up, and the test is obviously all over. Keith, it happened in the middle of the night, didn't it, where you are? And to be fair, where I am as well. Uh, yeah, England have gone down in flames again. We keep coming on here a little bit disappointed, but obviously in this sense, this one isn't a disappointment. We knew this was going to happen. No surprises here.
Yeah, we knew it was going to happen. It's just I can't figure out why England can't just play the game a bit more of a traditional way. It's quite.
Sorry, I just lost you there with the signal. That can happen, can't it? I suppose if you're out in Barbados. Um, I think Stokes did an interview talking about withstanding pressure and with pressure moments, right? But I just don't get it because in his case, when he's talking about that, I feel like the whole point of playing the way they do is that there isn't pressure because basically you just play however you want to play and it doesn't really matter. Am I being really cynical there or not?
I mean, they've played without pressure, but they are really applying pressure to themselves because they're getting beat. No one cares about if it's entertaining or not if you keep getting beat because it's not entertaining. It's as simple as that, mate.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, you're not wrong. What I find weird, and I think you wanted to touch on McCullum in a minute, but in some respects, what we're seeing is Stokes is actually reverting to paying attention to the scoreboard, and he's looks like he's really working hard and trying to absorb pressure in key moments and stuff. But frankly, no one seems to be doing the same thing or isn't able to, which is what I'm finding frustrating. Like Stokes, obviously, and Jacks today. Stokes got 50 in 150 odd balls, and Jacks applied himself well and got a 40 odd. But it's just not anywhere else, is it? I mean, Root's Root, right? I'm not including him here. He's the greatest ever as far as England are concerned, and possibly whatever. So I'm not including him, but I'm talking about everyone else. Um, it's just they're not able to recognise when the times are appropriate to absorb a bit of pressure and dig in.
The thing is, I think with how it's gone at the moment, you look at the scorecards of the last two tests, and I feel that especially after the first test, England post 300 this second test, and it's it's seen as a good score. I think I mentioned it the other day, how it seems a good score only because of how much they failed the first test.
Yeah.
And Australia going on to get 500 kind of showed, I know that you can say times of when they were batting, but kind of shows the levels of where both teams are at. And I almost feel like if one batsman in this England lineup gets a decent score, when I say decent score, a 40 to a 60 or 70, they think that's enough. Like, oh, the pressure's off me a little bit. Because others are failing as well. Whereas you look at the Australia batting lineup, everyone's chipping in
Mm.
every single innings, and especially that tail. They're facing a lot of balls. They're making it very difficult, Chris. It's very, very frustrating as an England fan to watch them fail the way they are, unfortunately.
Well, okay. So perfect little segue into this then. Cummins talked about having a KPI where essentially their bottom four all batted 30 balls each. And a lot of teams have a version of this, don't they? You know, some teams say, "Oh, can the last four get 100 runs?" Whatever. But the 30 balls each faced is a really good one. Now, we got the calculator out, didn't we? And essentially, I think we've got the Australian bottom four has only had two innings and faced 167 balls less only in two innings than the England top order we've got as facing across four innings. Is that right?
That's shocking. That is shocking. It's but that tells you the difference of how both their bowlers are applying themselves to England's top order who are applying themselves. It is quite worrying, and I don't know if will England look at that stat. Probably not.
No.
It might not be something that they've focused on or anything. Um, I've
Do
just
you
seen.
think they have KPIs, this England team? Because it
You,
seems quite. I mean, they must do, right? Every
you,
professional unit does, but I can't imagine what theirs are at all.
you'd like to think they would do. Definitely, they've got enough staff to look at all those kind of little things that they would do something like that. I've just seen Ben. The batters don't seem interested in working on the defensive games. They prefer to back themselves. I think that's very true. Yeah. I think that's the kind of ethos is back yourselves even when you are struggling. Um, why not try getting better at absorbing pressure too?
Yeah.
Totally agree. Totally agree. That would make a lot more sense, Ben, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, why don't they though? Because you know what about when you say back themselves in the air quotes or whatever, absolutely. But they don't trust their defense, do they? They don't back their defense. They don't back their ability to get through a brilliant Stark spell. They'd rather swing and try and like hit him out of the attack almost. It's very interesting.
I, just looking at some of the dismissals, some of them are very similar, and they're all like is in the same shot, but they're all from different lengths.
Hmm.
It's like, how can you be trying to drive a ball that is kind of back of a length almost, and almost be playing it like it's a half volley? I'm bountier wickets than what you're used to. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, no, mate, it's very strange. Right now, I want to come back to Stokes because again, we're big admirers of Stokes,
Yeah.
and he's standout at the moment in this team. Him root, as you'd expect. In his after match thingy, he talked about recognizing key moments and handling what the Australians throw at them. Now, what I want to propose is this Aussie team isn't throwing anything at them. It's the most orthodox Australian team that we've seen for a long time, right? Go back to like 2005 and they'd throw Shane Warne at you for a spell. You'd have McGrath bowling just unbelievable areas consistently. You'd have Brett Lee's extreme pace. They're not being thrown a lot here. This is Starks bowling out of his skin, but everything else is a
Yeah.
very orthodox and functional cricket package. It's not crazy,
Yeah.
is it, by any stretch? So
No.
it kind of doesn't make sense, to be totally honest. Now we've got to talk. Should we talk about Trescothick? Because you've been sending me loads of Instagram posts. Trescothick basically saying they want to put pressure on bowlers. That's the way they want to play. And I remember bowling at him, and you didn't feel like he was trying to manufacture anything. He was just so good. He punished you if you overpitched. If you got wide, he hit you through point. And good balls, he was able to defend well. And in a lot of cases, run them down to third man for four. Right, that's what bowling
Yes.
at Tres felt like.
Yeah.
So again, that doesn't wash. I mean, I don't know what you think of that because I know you're the one that sent me it.
Well, yeah. I mean, when, like you said, playing against someone like Trez, he gave you no room for error, but his shots weren't overly aggressive.
Mm.
He just put the bad ball away and put pressure on you in that sense of you can't really miss your mark much. But let's be honest, he was a lot better than a lot of these lads that are currently where they are in their game at the moment. So for him, I can get it, but he was never reckless. Never once did I ever see him play any sort of innings that were reckless in the way he got out. So I think the England batters, they are talented, but they're being pushed out of the skin to play this way that they can't play. They're not Ben Stokes. It's like they're all trying to play this innings that he played at Leeds, where it was
Yeah,
just phenomenal. It's like, no, you're not. Unfortunately, you guys are amazing, but you're not as good as a player as Ben Stokes to be able to play that innings. You've got to play your way to give yourself the best chance of scoring some runs. That's it. And stay
you
out there
know,
and face. You've got to face balls, Chris. You have to try and face balls for a long period of time to score runs. You can't go up a strike rate of 3 every. Like you've
mm,
got to just accumulate balls. If Australia's last 4 batters can face as many balls as they have, which is 167 balls less than England's top 4 batters, with 2 less innings, there's something wrong there. You've got to be looking to face more balls. Simple as that.
yeah, it's That's very frustrating. So I want to use a poker reference here, right? Because I love to try and drop these in. This tactic that England use, right? What annoys me is they're so wedded to this tactic, and it's only going to be 50-50. It's the equivalent of no matter how good you are, for example, at poker, just going all in every hand kind of thing. And it's like, well, yeah, you will win a few pots, but the issue is half
Yeah.
the time you won't, and it just goes spectacularly wrong. Whereas they should be looking to build an advantage a bit more over time, like you said there. Bowlers get tired, they bowl worse, and typically they'll bowl worse as they get fatigued, as they come into the spell 3, spell 4, as they come into day 2, and all of this
Yeah.
sort of stuff. But we just never put ourselves in a position to capitalise. Can we talk individually about some of the batters here then? Because obviously decisions, well, I say that decisions, they probably won't make any decisions, frankly. But Root and Stokes, no issues, right? To be honest, Duckett averages 40 odd. So I don't necessarily see him as an issue, right? Where do you sit with Crawley, Pope, and Brook right now?
I missed you for most of that, mate.
Okay,
You
no
said
worries. Well, we're
Root
doing
and
well.
Stokes.
We're doing well, given we're complete opposite sides of the planet. Where do you sit at the moment with Crawley, Pope, and Brook? Now they're all wonderful players, but yeah.
I mean, like I said, I think obviously Crawley got some runs the last test, so fair play to him. And also, even if he wasn't, there's not really a replacement for him up top. But he's done okay. Obviously, didn't do too well the first test, but he's got some runs in second test, which hopefully gives him a little bit more confidence now going further on. Sorry, who else did you mention?
Pope and Brook.
Pope was supposedly in really good form. I feel like he's not cashed in on it, to be honest with you. I think probably let himself down a little bit. I know it happens, but when you're in the form that he looked in, you've got to make the most of it, and I don't think he has, unfortunately. And Brook hasn't. He got one score. Did he first test? It's hard because when you're getting beat, it's highlighted a lot more, isn't it? Your performance is highlighted a lot more. You can't get away with scoring less than 20 in 2 innings or 3 innings out of 4. So there's pressure on Brook, I think, but I think he's got more backing than Pope. I do think this whole Bethel thing, Bethel's out there. I do think he's going to play at some point.
Well, you know what?
It might
Yeah,
be
mate.
changed now.
I think it will be. I think it will be because if I'm now management of this England team and I look at Adelaide, which can start to spin. I've got Jacks, and I'm like, well, actually, Bethel gives you a slow left arm option as well. Bashir hasn't done very well in the Lions game from what I've seen, but they're playing at the same time. So you when you play Bethel, you are giving supporters and critics a change they want. They're going to get a batting change, and realistically, Pope's the one that stands out. So you're giving the public that, but not only that, you also have an extra spin option which you might need. So it's Pope's fault at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? You've dragged on. He's played a shit shot, excuse my language, in Perth to nick off. He's dragged one on first innings, whatever. Got caught and bowled in the second. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. What do you want? Frankly, Brooks interesting as well and there's no doubt about this player's ability, but I don't know. I'm like, you've got to perform at the end of the day, and like if you look back to the India series, you can argue like Brooks' dismissal. Do you remember when he ran down, he got caught, then he skied one or whatever, and we only needed a few to win or whatever, ended up losing. That sort of stuff kind of. Eventually, there's got to come a point where you go, look, enough's enough here. You're brilliant, but have a break here. Perhaps I don't know, too much smoke blowing up your ass.
But is it a case of that? Is it a case? Well, you were just saying that. Is it a case of that? It's not the players. The players are being encouraged to just keep going, when actually the message needs to change from the top now. The players are being told how to play. I don't know. Do you think there's more to it than just the players? I don't know.
Well, how about this then? So you sent me another Instagram post about an interview after the game. So they're probably over-prepared, you reckon, Keith? McCullum thinks they're over-prepared this test. I mean, what do you reckon about that?
I don't know, because He did say they'd had five. I think he said they'd had 5 intense training sessions. What I don't know what those look like. But you'd be guessing that it was kind of ramped up and quite like bowlers steaming in, batters being in nets for a long time. I'd be interested to know how many times the batters get out in nets. As silly as that sounds,
Hmm.
like do they nick off a lot? Do they get bowled a lot? It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah,
I don't, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do, because nets are always interesting like that, aren't they? Especially when it's bat v ball, because for nets to really have a great impact, I feel like they have to be taken, in my opinion, they have to be taken quite seriously, right? And I think you were the same. Like if we bowled at batters in nets, we were always like, right, this is now it's a battle via batter, and we want to come out on top. I like to think batters feel the same way, and I know it frustrates bowlers when batters kind of get out a few times, play a really great shot, swan around a bit. In this instance, are you thinking of like practices like if you're out, you have to like pad back
no,
up again, or
it's
swap lefts and all this sort of
just
stuff?
no, not in the sense of that, but just like if someone if you hear like the stumps get rattled, but then like the next ball, it's like a massive smash into the roof of the net. It's like what? How serious? Not serious, but how game like are these nets being played or practiced? Is it very much just like they're playing the cricket in the games, or is it totally different, or is it just like big whooshing drive, Nick? All right, next one. Yeah, oh, I'm going again. Bold.
Mm.
Like, what? How are they doing these sessions? I'd love to be able to know, but
Well, you made the point before we came on as well. It's kind of too little, too late. Why are you having 5 intense training sessions before the game? You should be doing this before the series. So
mm,
it doesn't make sense, does it? They opted not to play loads of cricket before the series or whatever. Whether that's right or wrong, you make that decision. But then you're completely changing your tune if then you cram a load of training sessions in. And like you said, that's too little, too late. It's poor planning.
mm,
That's poor
mm.
management. That is.
Yeah,
It's not consistent.
yeah. I did see. I think it was Trescott was talking about it, saying how I think it was Tres that said like they came over and it can't work whether over for a long period of time or whatever. But you would like to think that there will be some sort of scheduled sessions that are actually the right amount to get enough in to make sure they're prepped. Because
Mm.
these guys that are making those decisions, they've played a lot of cricket, international cricket. They know what looks good and stuff. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, look, we won't go on too much longer because this is meant to be a raw, quick reaction and stuff. But on that comment, it's not exactly a bad place to tour Australia. There's good places to tour, and then there's not so good places to tour. And
Yeah,
Australia is definitely a place. If I have to spend an extra week in Oz, I'm not sweating that. Do you know what I mean? That's not a big one. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, oh
yeah,
no, an extra week in Sydney. Damn. Yeah. So I'm a bit like, I don't rate that really. And that New Zealand 1 day series, being totally honest, you could have taken a completely different side to that
mm,
because it was kind of irrelevant, wasn't it? I
yeah,
don't know how many, maybe 4 people watched it. I would have thought. Whereas this is a huge thing. This
yeah.
this series. So
Well, just as quickly as well is right. Obviously, it doesn't look great England winning this Ashes, but where did they go from here? Does it get brushed under the carpet at the end of this tour?
personally, at the end of the tour, I don't think it should. The reason for that, and again, I'm not having a go at individuals because I really rate all the individuals, but there's so much has been changed and mixed up with the view to, oh, we're going to go to Australia and we're going to take it to them and beat them for the first time, and they've messed it up, frankly. Oh look, they might win 3-2, right? So with the assumption that they're going to lose the series, what's all the stuff in the county championship been about? Changing
Yeah,
the balls and all of that stuff. It's
yeah,
like, nah, it's all of that kind of nonsense. Where do they go? It depends. It depends. Rob Key, right? Is he interested in? Because people watch England Test cricket. right? It's really
Yeah.
well supported and it earns a lot of money. England, it's not like a dying business model. So they didn't necessarily have to go, hang on, we have to play a completely different way to put bums on seats. Like there were already bums on seats.
Yeah.
So I think you're right, to be honest. I think they need to focus a bit more on winning. And actually, again, I don't mind them being positive and stuff in their approach. In fact, I quite rate that. But they've just got to
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's
Just
interesting. You
turn it
mentioned
down.
about county championship. I remember when we used, I think it was Kookaburras early on in the season where it was just wet. Balls would get wet. They wouldn't move. Batters
Yeah.
are scoring double hundreds, and Rob Key came out and said how he thinks it's great for the game. Like, Rob, does it look that great now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does it?
Well,
Like,
maybe good point. But also none of those blokes that were getting double hundreds then are playing in this team. They're picking blokes that were getting like 30 off 20 and nicking off. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Nah, look, again, I do believe in the ability of the individuals. I really actually do. So I'm not here saying
yeah,
they should be different players. Maybe a
no,
slightly different approach. Like, is
it's
McCullum
yeah.
the right guy? I don't know. Like, I mean,
That's what it comes down to for me. Is you've got the right players, but you're playing the wrong game.
I agree with that. Just quickly then, we will quickly touch on this bowling, right? So obviously we've been having a bit of a rant here about the batting, but
Yeah,
statistically the bowling isn't exactly amazing either. So in the series so far, Mitchell Stark's got 18 wickets at 14. Incredible. Cast is England's leading wicket taker with 9, an average of 26. Slightly higher Colin rate at 5.3. Stokes has done well, 8 wickets at 19. Then you've got Doggett, Boland, and Nessa, who are all been solid. Archer's got 3 wickets at 57. Atkinson 3 wickets at 78. Yeah, so I actually think Archer and Atkinson have looked pretty good. But
yeah. But
the
there's a
stats,
difference. There's a difference. Though one team's applying themselves totally different to how another team's applying themselves with the bat. That's for me what it comes down to. One team are happy to sit in, bowling a certain way. One team are going, well, this hasn't worked for a little bit. Let's go bumper plan. Let's just go at them, and if we pick up a few wickets, then fine. But it's not worked to their favour at all.
would you change any of the bowling options in the next test?
I'd love to be able to see the lengths that England have bowled and how long they've bowled those lengths for before going to a different length.
We've got another comment here. How likely is it that that's Nessa's last game for Australia?
Potentially, yeah. If you got Cummins coming straight back in,
Although surely in that case, well, obviously Lyon's going to come in, isn't he?
yeah,
That's a really good point. Lyon comes in. I'd potentially play Nessa over Doggett.
Yeah,
But we love Nessa, by the way. Who's that? Serious soccer fan YT. So we were talking about Nessa yesterday. It's quite good that he's backed it up with a fifer because it makes us look credible. He's a brilliant bowler, and actually, just because Carey stood up doesn't mean it's not serious bowling. Yeah, huge fan of Nessa. Hopefully, it's not his last because he's the sort of bloke you want to play cricket with, isn't he? At the end of the day,
He is. He is.
Great attitude,
But
all of that.
you've got some big players to come back in, which unfortunately for England is terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to get any worse.
You're arguably bringing in the best spinner and the best quick bowler in the world, both back in. I think we should double down on our approach. I think we should go even harder if that's possible. But yeah, I mean so a good point here. And you mentioned about the lengths. So I used to play with Alistair Cook at Essex, and he talked to the Essex team about the approach for the England team that won in Australia. And essentially, before that tour, they really analysed exactly how many balls really and truly hit the top of off stump on the previous Ashes tour.
Yeah.
And they tried to be very conscious and actually, let's not get carried away with the bounce and the pace. Let's still make sure, using Hawkeye, that we're top of off.
Yeah.
And England did go away from that quite quickly this game, didn't they? It started bowling quite a lot of short stuff.
Yeah.
And the Aussies didn't. The Aussies stayed top of off, 6 to 8 meters, got their awards.
Well, bar Stark, the Bostock, the rest of the England bowlers, I'd back more than the Aussie bowlers personally, but the Aussie bowlers stuck to the plans for longer, and they were more successful. Is it down to just the way England batted, or is it the way Australia applied themselves? I don't know, but it just seems that we're very quick to go away from plans at times.
Mate, 100%, 100%. No offense to anyone watching here, but England's bowling attack on paper is better than Australia's in this test. Definitely, it definitely is. Australia's attack's very good, but the England one on paper is better. So it just goes to show that for me, then that's tactics or execution on the day, isn't it? And yeah, to be honest, a lot of short stuff bowl, maybe too much. Whoa. Do you feel better for getting this all out, Keith?
I do feel better. I'm still upset the fact that we just keep playing the same way. It's like my son, mate. He just doesn't listen.
He gets to that point, right? Yeah. Have they dug their heels in so deep here now, England, that it's just like, so it's massive. It's cutting your nose to spite your face, isn't it? It's like, we will not give an inch to the media and a wider public. We are so committed to this style. And all the public, like, we love you, but it doesn't work. Please change.
Yeah, but that's where it's at now. Is please change, but it's going to get to a point where either people are going to stop watching or they're going to turn on England.
You know what we need, mate? We need a series against Zimbabwe quickly to restore confidence. We need to belt a team for 8 and over consistently for 80 overs, and then it will all be sorted. Has Jamie Smith been the biggest disappointment as he was compared to Gilchrist in the English summer? I think he's a proper player, I have to say.
But this is the thing, right? And this comes back to England's batting. Is when they play in England on the wickets that I've spoken to quite a few international bowlers about the wickets they play on. The wickets are so slow and flat that you can play that way. And Jamie Smith is brilliant. I do think brilliant, but on wickets like these, I think they've been more testing for him. And he's still quite young yet, so I think he's got a lot of development yet to improve. He's got a big ceiling, personally.
Yeah, I do. I think in his case, actually, I do feel like he's been a little bit unlucky. I think he got a good ball from Boland. You know, when England's innings was under lights and Boland, you know what I mean? So there's some good bowling there. He obviously was out down leg side. I don't think he got anything on it, did he, in that last test? So Smith isn't the one that's frustrating me, I have to say. And again, nothing against him as a person or player. I think he's amazing. But Brooks the one that frustrates me the most, actually. Because I watch him and I'm like, I reckon he got the best technique in the world. I'm like, it's insane. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, if I could bat like that, that's what everyone thinks, right? Everyone at home is thinking, if I could bat like Brooke, I would get so many runs. And they probably would. They probably would. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. How likely is it that Stokes resigns as captain at the end of the tour if England get a hammering?
I think. Well, let's see if England get a hammering for a serious soccer fan before we start commenting on that stuff. But I wouldn't have him resign. I'd keep him on. I just think he's leading by example with how he's playing and applying himself with bat and ball. And I think there's just kind of others have got to try and look at that and try and follow the same. But basically.
The interesting thing England have is that, and actually, I'll be honest, I would prefer, I think at this point, a coach that was maybe a little more orthodox. You know what I mean? I really would. But it's now, does McCullum and Stokes come as a pair, I suppose? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I did say this to you a while ago on our podcast that what happens if a new head coach comes in down the line? I don't think they're going to accept this way of playing. So something will have to change. Yeah,
it'll be very interesting. But look, we've gone on longer than we planned. That was good. I feel good for getting that out. Thanks very much for the people who've commented. Hopefully, we got through some of your questions there. And yeah, we'll see you all again. There's another another question about Sam Cook. Lovely bowler. To be fair. but yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. You can't pick everyone, can you? I suppose.
No.
But look, let's leave it there. And we'll podcast again. Whenever the next test is, I suppose. Well, we'll do podcasts, but in terms of going live on YouTube, we'll do another one. Another reaction after the day one of the next test, and enjoy a little bit of breathing time until then. Take it easy. See ya.
Cheers, guys. Bye.